Nima Elbagir puts it all on the line to investigate humanitarian abuses, especially in Africa.
In these rooms is where the girls were sleeping when armed men in what they describe as military uniforms came to their dormitory gate.
She went to Libya last year to look into the slave trade after she obtained video of African migrants being sold at auction.
Big strong boys for farm work, he says. These men are sold for 1,200 Libyan pounds, $400 apiece.
She followed a tip to an auction near Tripoli and crouched in the corner of a yard, secretly recording as men were sold.
600. 650. 700. Very quickly, it's over.
And they kept bringing out what they kept referring to in Arabic as al-budaa, the merchandise.
She also went to a migrant detention center where this man told her what it was like to be a slave.
I was sold.
What happened?
On my way coming, I was sold. Merciless beating. If you look at most of the people here, if you check their body, you see the mark, they're beating with electric.
Her story sparked international outrage and forced Libyan authorities to launch an investigation into slave auctions. And in an unprecedented move, the United Nations Security Council slapped sanctions on 6 men accused of leading human trafficking networks in Libya. Migrants often end up in slavery when they can't pay human traffickers. So Elbagir also went to Nigeria, undercover, to experience firsthand the dangers people face as they try to get to Europe.
So we can't travel without the contraception.
You just have them in your bag. So it's a jungle.
She and her producer posed as 2 wealthy Nigerian women, buying the VIP package to Europe.
What happens? The women are abused on the trip?
In Libya.
In Libya? What happens? They get pregnant?
That's why it's telling you to have those things.
Elbagir and her producer went to a local brothel to start the journey, then were put on a public bus for the first leg of their trip. Once out of sight of the smugglers, they got off the bus to safety.
They would expect me to have made my peace with the fact that at almost every leg of this journey, I would be assaulted and raped and abused.
Elbagir has always understood the importance of journalism. Her father founded the Al Khartoum newspaper in Sudan, one of the hardest places in the world to report. He was in and out of jail and repeatedly forced into exile. Her mother was the first female publisher of a newspaper in Sudan. Elbagir grew up there and in London and is fluent in Arabic and English. She began her journalism career at Reuters, but could not convince the news organization to cover the genocide in Darfur. She went anyway, becoming one of the first to chronicle the horrors taking place in her homeland, including rape and killings. While her stories were never published, prosecutors used her notebook to help make the case. War crimes were committed. She cut her teeth working at the UK's Channel 4, reporting from far-flung places including Afghanistan and Darfur.
And myself and my cameraman have already been detained twice just for having a camera on us.
Elbagir started working at CNN in 2011, reporting from Liberia during the Ebola outbreak, traveling with investigators as they tracked the disease.
This clinic had to be locked up after all the health workers in it contracted Ebola. Only one of them survived.
Elbagir was the first international journalist to report from Chibok after Boko Haram kidnapped more than 200 Nigerian schoolgirls. 2 years after the abductions, she obtained a video showing proof of life and took it to anxious mothers.
Another girl is identified, Hawa. One by one, they name all 15 girls. But one mother, Yala, realizes her daughter isn't there.
She also tackled the issue of child marriage in Sudan, interviewing an 11-year-old girl seeking a divorce.
وتاني رجعني له بعد ما رجعني له تاني شغال ضربني بعد ما ضربني المرة الأخيرة طلعت مشيت القسم.
Earlier this year, Elbagir went to the Democratic Republic of Congo to track down reports of child labor in cobalt mining.
Although we've been given permission to film here, as soon as they see us, officials begin to scare the children away.
Her cameras revealed children have been mining cobalt. The mineral is in high demand for cell phones and battery-powered cars.
One young boy staggers under his load. His friend sees the camera and he drops his sack. They've clearly been warned.
Elbagir went to 3 mining locations and used undercover cameras to expose how widespread the problem is. After her story ran, Mercedes-Benz and Tesla promised to check their supply chains to make sure children are not being used to mine cobalt. Her brave reporting shines a light on the plight of women, children, and even men sold off as slaves. She spoke to Trevor Noah on The Daily Show earlier this year about those African migrants enslaved in Libya. What Nima Elbagir said holds true for the bulk of her reporting.
If we keep reminding them that we care, then I think ultimately they will be forced to do something.